What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear. Appreciate you stopping by. Today we have a new knife brand to check out. These were sent, like you will hear a lot because Kevin Lefty EDC has sent me quite a few. These were sent over by Kevin Lefty EDC. These is the Tuya Knife brand, a brand that I have never checked out. These two knives, I believe, actually still belong to Tuya Knives. Kevin actually had bought one of the version 2s. And I think the version 2 that he's got. So these are Tuya's knives, and I really appreciate the company for sending them along and letting me check them out through Kevin. These things are pretty cool. Now, yeah, I know I've had a lot on the channel of flipper-only knives. You guys know flipper-only knives don't really tickle my fancy. But for the price and materials that you get with these guys, holy moly. Look, there is the version 2 with the full tie frame lock M390. This one is wearing black hardware because I think Kevin kind of switched up some hardware, got some permission from them to do that. These both have very nice satin compound grinds. Really loving compound grinds here lately. Hollow and then a flat on both of them. Look at that. Oh, very, very nice. The version 3 is a liner lock. Carbon fiber. Very nice looking carbon fiber. However, I thought it was G10 when I first unboxed this knife because it has such a different look from carbon fiber that I'm used to. So really, really nice. And of course makes it lightweight. Does have steel liners. So there is no walk bar insert, but the liners are skeletonized. The hardware is nice. You got this little ring around your hardware, your little pivot, a couple little touches there. You've got their logo here on both of the knives. Boom. So basically they're the same knife. It's just one's a frame lock, one's a liner lock, full tie, and carbon fiber. So how's the action? The action is great. Now, I will say that the action on the version 3, being a liner lock, is really nice. Fires out of there like it's supposed to. Drops down very, very smoothly. The detent on the version 2, the carbon fiber, is a lot stiffer, though. Like this one, I think is tuned really, really well. I like a stronger detent, so I like this a lot. But I can definitely tell it is a stronger detent on this flipper, which for me is better. Some people might not like that because, like I said, this one is tuned pretty much to perfection. I think most people will like. However, myself, I really prefer a stronger detent. The flipper tab works really well, and it fires out of there like it's supposed to, and I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Both of these have very skinny pocket clips that is held in by one screw. That originally kind of freaked me out a little bit because it sits into the titanium, it sits into the carbon fiber right there, but held in by one screw. I'm just afraid that if this does happen to catch on something, that it would cause some damage. Just because I've had that happen before. Other knives that would have similar, one screw going into the knife. It's not to say this would happen. It's just I've not had very good experience. So none of it has happened to me since I've carried these knives. You can see on the titanium one that if you try to push it over, you can, but it's still got some pretty good retention. It's a little bit more so on the carbon fiber one, which it's, not as strong of a material, but you can see that moving back and forth. Kind of a nitpick for some, big deal for others. Doesn't really bother me because it does go in and out of the pocket really, really well. It doesn't sit deep carry, but I don't care about that. So I like the milling patterns they put on both of these. It's basically the exact same pocket clip. This, of course, mimics the milling pattern on the titanium version, which looks really nice and adds a little bit of grip too. So really nice. Speaking of grip, how are the ergonomics? The ergonomics on this thing are good. I wouldn't call them great. The reason I wouldn't call them great is just because of my big hands. Whenever you have a swell right here, the finger control, that's kind of what I like. But then when it comes back down this way and moves back into the knife, it cramps my hand just a little bit. My hand fits in there, but my pinky is actually on this point area. It's very rounded off, so it's not like it's poking me, but my pinky does land there. And if it was just, kind of came back out and didn't swoop up, I think it would be better for my hand size. But in this backed up grip, because it's like that, my hands feel like they're a little bit squished because my big sausagey fingers and hands. So my finger does kind of go into the jimping here for the flipper, which is a typical problem with flippers in my hand size. So I'm not knocking the knife for that because it's on most knives. There are some flippers out there and designs that don't do that. This one does do it. It's not a hot spot or anything. I can just feel it. I mean, my finger is pressed up against that flipper tab, and I can feel the jimping, and it's just a thing. Just a thing. But as you can see, very, very smooth action on these guys. It's kind of a double clutch sometimes, mainly on the carbon fiber one. You'll see how it's working there, but every now and again it'll come back down and then it won't get past that detap ball, and I have a little the double clutch situation. Once I did that a couple of times, I was able to really not have that problem. But when I would pick the knife up for not playing with it for a little while, it would happen. So, but it's not a very bad. It's not near as bad as some of the other knives. I mean, I would call this definitely passable because all I have to do is get my finger a little bit lower to let it drop a little farther, so I can do that right there. The carbon fiber on this, I do like. You see how it's kind of grayish right there. I'm not exactly sure what. It almost looks like a gray tint. And I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but I dig it. It's just nothing like the carbon fiber that I'm used to seeing. I don't know, do they call this end cut? I don't know much, really about it. Maybe this is actually the end cut carbon fiber. Probably is, because I think I've seen some of the Vero knives with the end cut carbon fiber. So that's really, really nice, especially for the price. Guys, these things are only like $240 or $230. So with the materials that you're getting, the action and quality that I feel from these things are totally worth that. I mean, compound grind with a hollow and a flat, kind of picking your poison or which one you want because they're about the same price. I'm digging it. Now, I would rather see the 2-screw pocket clip on there. But, as far as the way they did the lanyard hole and the back spacer, I think is a nice thing. It doesn't actually put a big hole in your blade, anything like that. The blade stock thicknesses are just right there at the what I like in a knife that I feel robust, but also still slicey. It does have this ramp here, and with the ergonomics, my thumb lands there. I usually like to be able to choke up if I can. This kind of pokes me a little bit, but not much because it is, rounded off. But, this is if I'm really trying to get behind the knife. And if I was, that does kind of poke me a little bit. But in the regular saber grip, this does feel comfortable. Just wish my hands were a little bit smaller, or this was just a tad bit longer, and then it would be perfect. My life would be perfect. So yeah, let's go ahead, flip the camera around, get some closer looks at these guys and some size comparisons and some specs. Booyah. All right, boom. Also notice that I didn't do the cut test, so we are going to just show you how this slices through the cardboard with ease, 20 thousandths behind the edge, and a hollow grind. Very, very nice. So they do cut, and they cut well. This very satin polished, grinds here is a fingerprint magnet. And then as I cut through the cardboard, it did pick up some smudges. So that is a thing if that bothers you, but it does look so very beautiful, especially when it's clean and especially when it focuses. Look at that nice blade shape. Very, very nice milling pattern. And on the titanium, this is the V2. Oh, so very nice. Now, of course, the titanium one does have a lock bar insert, where this one is a steel liner, so it does not need an insert. This one does have one. I think, man, I don't know which one I prefer, but holy crap, they're both really nice. It's kind of depending on what you like, because a liner lock really is nice for the lefties out there, right? No lock bar to contend with. This one, I don't think, as being a flipper only, would be that big of a deal, because, you know, I just put my thumb right there beside it, flicks open like crazy. Definitely go check out Lefty EDC's review, because he will give you, oh, excuse me, a very nice comprehensive review on how they are for left-handers, because that's who he is. He's a lefty EDC. So what are we working with here, guys? It's about 7 7/8 overall length with a 3 1/4 inch blade. That's very, very nice. The thickness on these guys are really not bad. I think, matter of fact, they fill my hand out really well. You know, right under the 1/2 inch. This is about 480 thousandths. This one's right out 1/2 inch. So surprisingly enough, the carbon fiber is just a little bit thicker. Might have been exactly where I measured it, but that is kind of interesting. Let's see what the differences is in the weight, because that is definitely a thing that I know a lot of people are going to ask and probably take in consideration if you were looking at one of these. Turn this off and turn this back on to get it to set. So the carbon fiber M390 with the steel liners coming at 3.75, and the full tie with the frame lock, and I can't remember, yeah, it does have lightning pockets in there, coming in at 3.75. Holy crap, they managed to get both of these knives the exact same weight. That's awesome. So yeah, very, very nice on the weight and in the pocket. So yeah, can't really beat that with a stick, I don't think. So let's go ahead and put them up. As you can see, they are basically the exact same knife. It's just one's a liner lock, one's a frame lock, titanium and carbon fiber. Here it is against the Spyderco PM2. Similar. PM2's got it by just a little bit, but you get more cutting edge on the Tuya Knives NV2 and 3. Here it is against a Benchmade, the Benchmade Super Freak. Benchmade Super Freak also coming in a little bit longer, very much thicker blade, or I'm sorry, handle on the Benchmade. But as you can see, just a really good size for EDC. I think they have quite a few different models, and I'm looking forward to checking out some of the other ones. But this one is definitely I think a sexy compound grind EDC knife that will do most people very, very well. M390 blade, it's one of my favorite steels for an EDC blade. Hollow grind, and the materials that you get for the price that you get it for, about 230 bucks. I just don't think you can beat it. I can definitely recommend these knives, and I'm looking forward to trying more from the Tuya Knives lineup. They've got quite a few things. I'll have their website linked down below, so you can go check out their stuff. It's not just knives. They have other gear as well, and it's just a really cool place to go and check out. And I plan on ordering some stuff very, very soon, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you to Tuya Knives for sending us to Lefty and then to me. Really appreciate it, guys. And stay safe in this crazy world we are living in, and we will see you in the